You alright guys, hope you're all okay out there. 10 days ago, George left a comment on my pastry wash video, the one you can see on the screen now. Oh dear me, George, always up for a challenge. I thought, well hang on Anna, let's not just show how I do my roast potatoes, let's do how loads of other people do roast potatoes. So I trolled the internet, I found 10 different recipes, some from food websites, some from appliances websites, and some from celebrity chefs. So here we go then, and I hope I never see a roast potato again in my life. Only joking guys, as you know a good roast potato can make or break a meal. So what I've done, I found about 20 different recipes, and after going through them I realised that many were just a variation on a theme, so I binned those. And only one or two said to use animal fats as an option. It was an option, so what I'm doing, I'm using vegetable oil or olive oil throughout, and that way it's going to be good for vegetarians and vegans as well. We can all enjoy them. So the ingredients are as you see on the screen: potatoes, oil, salt, semolina, flour, sodium bicarbonate in one of them. And these are all basic, plain, common or garden roast potatoes. No add-ons, no sage, no rosemary, no garlic salt. I say no garlic, sorry, there's one I put garlic in. Yeah, all right, you'll see that in a minute. Yeah, there's no add-ons, just basic, plain roast potatoes. If you want to fancy them up, I'll tell you how to do it at the end. Right, let's get going. There's going to be quite a bit of repetition in these recipes, so I'll try and keep it as brief as possible. Throughout, I'm using my potato peeler, except for one recipe. This one I'm doing now is from a website called The Dinner Bite, and it's an air fryer recipe. And it calls for the potatoes to be in small chunks, about 3 centimetres, and not parboiled beforehand. Sprinkle with oil, trivet in the air fryer basket if you have a trivet, and cook at 200 Celsius for 10 minutes. Shake them and cook for another 10 minutes. Let's see how we get on. Well, I'm rubbish at multitasking with my phone, so I give them a good shake after 10 minutes and stop the cooking 6 minutes later. They look done to me. Right, number one. Nice and fluffy. And that's about as far as we go with the taste test for each recipe. The final results will be at the end. Cold water, salted. Cold salted water. So why don't we do that? Is that? And this one had a very short boiling time of 2 minutes. 2 minutes, fluff up in the colander. Not fluffing very well. And this BBC Good Food recipe called for a sprinkling of a couple of teaspoons of flour. There's already some vegetable oil on the tray here. I'm just putting them on gently. I don't want to knock the flour off, if you know what I mean. And I give them a quick drizzle with some more oil. Into the oven at 180 Celsius for these 30 minutes and turn them after 15 minutes. And they come out looking like this. Oh, nice crunch. Cook through, bacon hot still. Bartlett, various sizes. Last up for the foodie type website recipes is Albert Bartlett, the supplier of seed potatoes. They got, I think the word's copyrighted, I'm not sure. They've got a lot of potatoes that are uniquely theirs, like the Rooster, and I think the Condor potatoes theirs as well. What are they saying then? Let's have a look. Cold salted water.
That's cold.
Cook for 10 to 12 minutes in the water, parboil it, and cut the potatoes into various sizes. Now I like that. When you have a roast potato, you don't want them all to be exactly the same, do you? You want some little crispy ones, some big ones a little bit soggy. And it says to drain the potatoes and let them sit for 10 minutes to air dry. In the hot oil, turn the spuds to coat them, and in the oven at 210 degrees Celsius for 20 minutes, and then turn them after 20 minutes. Total cooking time 40 minutes. Let's see what they look like.
Them in various sizes, and it looks like it's worked. Different degrees of crunch. I'm enjoying this. Crispiest so far. Oh yes.
Well, one of my numerous kitchen gadgets is the Sage 3-in-1 Combi Wave. It's a great bit of kit actually, it really does cook well. But I don't use the preset settings very often. Now this is the one for roast potatoes, and it says 3cm cubes, no parboiling, and to cook them on 200 degrees Celsius, fast combi, and have the trivet tray in the drawer. Now the trivet tray is it's an insulated hot plate basically. It can withstand microwaves and the grill and the oven all in one go. So drizzle with oil, give them a good toss in. Preheat the trivet tray. Oil simmering, oh there's a camera there. And give them a good coating, then back in. 10 minutes. Now, even though the recipe book said 10 minutes, I did 15. They look pretty insipid to me.
Well, I think you can tell. Yeah. Three centimeters, cold water, salt and bicarbonate, 5 to 8 minutes.
Now this one's from the Ninja Air Fryer recipe website. I've got a, what's it, double drawer Ninja. It's quite good actually, I'm using it more and more. I must learn to stop putting my hand in and burning my blooming wrist though. Now this is the only recipe that calls for sodium bicarbonate. Not quite sure what it does. Anyway, 3cm cubes into cold salted water with a bit of bicarb and parboil for 5 to 8 minutes. I did 5 because they've gone a little bit mushy. Straight into the air fryer drawer with no trivet for this one. Drizzle with the vegetable oil and give a quick toss. And then air fry at 200 Celsius. It says 20 to 25 minutes. I had a quick look at 10 minutes, shook the drawer, put it back in for 5 minutes, and they were, well brown. So let's see what they look like.
Tidgy tots. Crispy.
My other combi oven is a Panasonic. It's a combi oven, microwave, steamer, air fryer. It does everything anyway. It's got a program called Sensor Cook, so I'm weighing the potatoes because it can do things between 400 and 800 grams, and they were 450. Peel and cut the potatoes into even-sized pieces. Place on the glass tray, add 1 to 3 tablespoons of oil. Place the glass tray on the wire rack in the center shelf of the oven. Select Sensor Cook Program number 6. Press Start. Turn the potatoes when the appliance beeps. The appliance applied its magic. It sent a few waves around the chamber, worked out what the weight of the potatoes was, and it came out with 24 minutes cooking time.
Panasonic combination. And I'll tell you what, they look good. Bit of a crisp to them. Oh, yeah. Oh, they're proper. Yeah, they're cooked, they're fluffy, yeah.
Okay, then on to the celebrity chefs. And this one from Mr. Oliver is certainly not one you want to do if you're in a hurry. It's the only one that calls for whole potatoes. Place the whole potatoes in cold salted water, bring to the boil for 15 minutes, drain and leave for 2 minutes. After the 2 minutes, fluff the potatoes in the colander, add to an oiled tray, add salt and pepper if you want, I didn't. Coat the potatoes with the oil and cover with foil, leave in the fridge overnight. Next day, remove from the oven, take the foil off and drizzle the potatoes with a bit of oil. If you're going to add garlic, now I wish I hadn't, it didn't do anything for me, squash a couple of garlics with their skin on and place them in the tray to cook with the potatoes. Then into the oven at 180 Celsius for 60 minutes. After 60 minutes, remove the potatoes from the oven, squash gently with a spatula or a potato masher, baste a little bit, then back in the oven for 20 to 25 minutes. Okay then, Gordon Ramsay says even-sized potatoes into cold salted waters and parboil for 6 minutes. Drain into a colander and shake to fluff up, and I'm saving the hot water from this one for the next recipe. Cover the potatoes with semolina, interestingly the only one who says to use semolina powder. Give them a good fluffing and set them aside for 5 minutes. Onto a tray of hot vegetable oil and in the oven at 180 Celsius for 45 minutes, turning every 15 minutes.
Very crispy. Oh, look at that. Okay, that's simmering.
And on with Tom Kerridge, and he is the only chef, the only website I've found that says to add the potatoes to boiling water, something I do myself. 10 to 15 minutes, he says. I stopped after 10. They were just about parboiled. And the other interesting thing he says is to gently place the potatoes onto a rack to air cool, to cool right down. I let these rest for 15 minutes. Then into the hot oil and cover with the hot oil. Into the oven at 200 Celsius for 45 minutes, turning potatoes after 25 minutes.
Right, Tom Kerridge. Now these look like your classic British pub roast potatoes. Very crispy. Yeah. Can't wait to get stuck into these ones. That is good.
Okay, they're not a celebrity, but certainly a star in my eyes is me mum. Taught me all I know. Oh dear. Only want to use a knife to peel the potatoes. I remember her doing this. She cut the potatoes lengthways or in big chunks that way. No parboiling, straight into the hot oil and straight into the oven at whatever temperature the meat was cooking at. I've chosen 210 Celsius for this one. I give them a quick toss before they went in, and I took them out when they were brown.
Yeah, they are crispy. Yeah, give her that. Yes, fluffy inside, and yes, cooked through. That is your classic roast potato taste.
Okay, then on with the results, and I followed the instructions to the letter, but I've given myself a bit of leeway with the cooking time. In 10th place comes the Sage Combi oven. The potatoes were cooked, but they were a bit hard inside. They weren't fluffy at all. They had no crisp to them whatsoever, and they tasted a bit like baked potatoes. Okay, if you want digi little baked potatoes, I suppose. 9th place, Jamie Oliver. The master of overcomplication has overcomplicated roast potatoes. They weren't too bad. They were cooked and fluffy. They had a bit of crisp to them, but they were a little bit bland. But a day and a half to cook roast potatoes? No, not for me. In 8th place, we got the dinner bite recipe. They were cooked, they were fluffy, they were a little bit crispy, but they tasted quite bland. And I think this is because, being an air fry recipe, they were cooked on a trivet, and I don't think the trivet is needed for this one. Mark down for that. The Ninja air fryer came in at 7th. Yes, they were cooked and fluffy, quite crispy, and they tasted good, but they were small, and I don't think they would cook well as a larger potato. The air fryer recipes tend to be a bit like tater tots, small potatoes, not really roast potatoes to go with your Sunday roast. The Albert Barter potatoes came in at 5th equal. They were cooked, they were fluffy, and they were quite crispy. The taste was average. Nothing special, just nice potatoes. Also at 5th equal were the potatoes from the BBC Good Food website. Again, cooked fluffy, very crispy, very tasty as well. Maybe because of the flour on the outside. I like these. Mum's Roasters came in at 4th. A classic taste. I remember in the old days there was no pussyfooting around. They weren't parboiled or fluffed up. Just cut with a knife and chucked in with the meat, and that's exactly what these tasted like. In 3rd place was my Panasonic combination oven. And I'll tell you what, I didn't even know it could do this. They were lovely. Fluffy, cooked, yes, taste fantastic, crispy on the outside, and they were almost creamy in the middle. Very, very nice, and I will be using that function again. And that leaves us with 2 tying for first equal. Gordon Ramsay, Tom Kerridge. I can't put a cigarette paper between these two. Maybe the Gordon Ramsay ones were nice because they use that semolina powder. They're very, very crunchy coating. And the Tom Kerridge ones, well, they were just crispy overall. They were your typical pub spuds, so well done, guys. And I'd like to say that Tom's are very much like mine. And to respond to George's initial comment, here's my recipe.
Right, very, very quickly, I'm going to do mine. And what I do is in the hot oil, a big knob of butter. And the oil stops the butter from burning. So I just chop some potatoes, I'll boil them downstairs.
My potatoes go straight into boiling water for 5 minutes, fluff them up in the colander, then into the foaming buttery oil mix, give them a good coating. Now for 4 of the potatoes, I covered them with this aromat seasoning. Now this is what I do when I'm not doing a proper roast. If I'm doing a proper roast, it's either the hot potatoes or potatoes at 160 Celsius along with the meat. And these cook at 230 Celsius. That's the hottest that my oven goes to.
That's 15 minutes. Give them a quick turn. Okay, that's them cooked. 30 minutes. I'll take out the tray down here and go and photograph them upstairs. Not going to risk carrying that oil upstairs. You know what'll happen? I'll melt the carpet. Those 3 are nothing. Those 4 got the seasoning on. All very crisp. Let's do a plain one first. Oh yeah. Fluffy as you like. Yep. That's my normal roast potato. If I'm not doing a roast. Doesn't make sense, but you know what I mean. And this is the one with the seasoning on. Different to the rest because the rest haven't got seasoning on, but I just thought I'd show you another way I do it. It's going to be light and fluffy, same as the other one, isn't it? But, they're nice. They are very, very nice, but they can't compete with the rest because they're totally different. Oh, yes.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this one, guys. Lots of spuds. I hope I don't see a roast potato for quite a while now. I can't really say what makes the perfect roast potato. I think it's all down to individual taste. I did like the semolina coating. I did like the flour coating. And I think mine are good because of the hot oil temperature. Take care, guys, and I'll catch you on the next recipe.